single flicker of hesitation. That's all it took for the balance of power in the galaxy to shift. In the final seconds of Foundation Season 3, Episode 5, one calculated move leaves entire star systems hanging by a thread, and the question burns brighter than ever. Was this part of the plan? The beginning of the end? The moment is fast, almost too quick to register, yet it carries the weight of centuries of planning, betrayal, and prophecy. It's the kind of ending that makes you want to rewind, frame by frame. Searching for the signs that led us here, Episode 5 starts with tension already bubbling under the surface. The Empire, once a flawless symbol of control, is showing cracks not just in its politics, but in its very identity. Brother Day pushes forward with a show of force, determined to remind the galaxy who holds the reins. But Demerzels' quiet presence lingers behind every decision, like a shadow dictating the shape of the light. She doesn't need to raise her voice. Her influence is in the way events unfold exactly as she seems to want them. At the same time, Hari Seldons' influence spreads further than even he predicted, guiding key players toward moves they don't yet understand the consequences. Of an outer reach, alliances are forming faster than they can be tracked. The Mentalics, with their unnerving psychic abilities, are no longer just an ominous rumor. They are real, dangerous, and ready to stake their claim in the coming conflict. Brother Constant finds herself torn between her loyalty to the Foundation and her growing awareness that the fight ahead may be far more complicated than she imagined. Every choice feels like it could tip the scales in ways no one can fully predict. Meanwhile, whispers of the Second Foundation are growing louder. Their name alone is enough to unsettle even the most confident leaders, because their existence threatens to undo every power structure in the galaxy. Episode 5 makes it clear that their presence is not just a theory, it's a looming certainty. And in the background, small details, a look between two characters, a seemingly casual line of dialogue, a ship taking off at the wrong time, begin to build a picture that will only make sense when the final scene hits. By the time the ending arrives, the air is heavy with unspoken tension. Every faction has made a move, but no one has revealed their full hand. It's a dangerous kind of calm, the sort that comes right before a storm breaks. And as that final twist plays out, you realize this isn't just the climax of an episode. It's the ignition point for everything that's coming next. Asterisk the road to that explosive ending in episode 5 isn't built on one big moment. It's a series of small, deliberate moves, each one tightening the noose around the galaxy's fragile balance. It begins with the Empire trying to flex its power, but the attempt feels more desperate than dominant. Brother Day pushes forward with a public display meant to intimidate, yet beneath the surface his actions reveal insecurity. His authority is no longer unquestioned, and every order he gives seems like an attempt to convince himself that the Empire is still untouchable. Demerzels, however, moves on a completely different level. While Day speaks loudly, she works silently, shaping events in ways that almost go unnoticed. Early in the episode, quiet exchange with a key political figure plants a seed of influence that won't sprout until much later. Her strategy is patience, letting others believe they're in control until it's too late to reverse their course. Viewers who have been paying attention will recognize that every coincidence in this episode bears her fingerprints. On the Foundation's side, Hari Seldon is playing his own long game. The plan he set in motion seasons ago is now in motion at full speed, yet even Hari himself seems aware that not every outcome can be predicted. His interactions with Gaul and Salver carry a mix of confidence and quiet doubt, as if he knows the math no longer accounts for the unpredictable nature of human and mentalic choices. The episode gives us small but telling moments, like Hari pausing mid-sentence when a new piece of information disrupts his careful calculations. The Mentalics are no longer a distant threat. We see more of their capabilities here, subtle manipulations of thought, bending people toward actions they would never take otherwise. A particularly chilling scene shows just how easy it is for them to rewrite a person's intent without leaving a trace. This revelation makes their potential alliance or opposition to either Foundation or Empire a dangerous wildcard. Meanwhile, the whispers of the Second Foundation become harder to ignore. Their shadow stretches into conversations they're not even part of, and characters we thought were loyal to one side begin to act unpredictably. The episode scatters hints: a mysterious ship docking in secrecy, a coded message intercepted but never fully explained, a fleeting reference to an ancient text that only a few characters seem to understand. These aren't throwaway moments. They're the breadcrumbs leading to the final gut punch of the episode. By the time all these threads weave together, the story feels like a tightly wound spring. Every faction has made a subtle move that seems unrelated, but in truth, each one is pushing the galaxy toward the same breaking point. And when the ending hits, all those tiny details suddenly snap into focus, revealing just how dangerous the game has become. Asterisk, the ending of Episode 5 is a masterclass in slow-burn tension, snapping into chaos within seconds. The kind of stillness that tells you something monumental is about to happen. The camera lingers just a moment longer on each face, letting you read the unspoken fears and calculations in their eyes. Brother Day stands tall, but his posture is rigid, almost brittle, as if he knows the moment in front of him could decide the fate of the Empire. Across the room, Demerzels' expression is unreadable, a perfect mask that hides whether she's a loyal servant or the quiet architect of everything about to unfold. Hari Seldons' presence here is more spectral than physical, not always in the room, but his influence hangs over the scene like an invisible weight. Even without a direct move, it's clear his earlier manipulations have set the stage for what's happening now. The Mentalics are the real disruptors in this moment, their subtle abilities pressing on the thoughts of key players. A flicker of hesitation in one soldier's eyes, a moment of doubt in a leader's voice. These aren't coincidences. They're the product of unseen minds nudging the outcome. Then it happens. A decision that seems small, a command delayed by a heartbeat, becomes the pivot point for the entire galaxy. A ship is allowed to escape when it should have been destroyed. A target is spared when logic demanded their elimination. That heartbeat of hesitation fractures the Empire's illusion of absolute control. The reaction is immediate and layered. Shock from some, quiet satisfaction from others, and in Demerzels' case, an almost imperceptible tightening of her jaw, like she's already calculating the fallout. Symbolism runs thick here. The lighting shifts to colder tones, shadows creeping across the faces of those in power, as if visually signaling that a chill has settled over the Empire's grip. The sound design amplifies this, with the faint hum of the ship's engines, underscoring the tension, a constant reminder that the moment is slipping away and nothing can stop it now. Even the framing of the shots tells a story, isolating characters in tight close-ups, as though each of them is trapped in their own private war. By the time the scene ends, nothing is loud or flashy, no massive explosion or sudden battle. Instead, the true power of this ending lies in the realization that the future has just been rewritten. Every player leaves the moment knowing they're in a different game than the one they started in, but none of them can yet see the full board. It's a quiet kind of devastation, the kind that doesn't need noise to leave you breathless. Asterisk. Every character in Episode 5's ending is moving like a piece on a chessboard. But the difference is, no one is admitting who's really playing the game. On the surface, it looks like Brother Day is still calling the shots, but his choices feel reactionary, almost defensive. He's a ruler clinging to the image of power, not the reality of it. His obsession with maintaining the Empire's dominance blinds him to the subtle manipulations happening right under his nose. Every decision he makes in this episode is less about strategy and more about pride and pride. In the Foundation universe, it's the quickest path to a fall. Demerzels' motivations are a puzzle wrapped in centuries of programming and secrecy. To the outside eye, she remains the perfect servant, executing the Emperor's will without question. But the patterns in her behavior tell another story. The calculated pauses, the information she chooses to reveal or withhold. The way she positions herself near power, but never directly in the spotlight, all of it suggests a long-term plan that goes far beyond loyalty to any single clone on the throne. Whether she's protecting the Empire herself or something entirely different is the question that now hangs over every scene she's in. Asterisk. Hari Seldon operates on a level that feels almost inhuman. His mission isn't about winning battles in the present, it's about ensuring the survival of civilization, centuries into the future. That level of thinking makes him unpredictable, even to his allies. He's willing to sacrifice individuals, relationships, and even entire worlds if it means preserving the larger plan. Yet Episode 5 hints that Hari is beginning to see the limits of his own predictions. The rise of the Mentalics, an element his math could never fully account for, forces him to adapt in ways he's not entirely comfortable with. The Mentalics themselves remain a dangerous wild card. Their abilities aren't bound by politics or military might, making them capable of influencing events without ever firing a shot. But power like theirs doesn't exist without ambition. Episode 5 shows us flashes of internal division among them, some seeking alliance, others craving domination. If they decide to tip the scales, it may not be in favor of either the Empire or the Foundation. Even the smaller players, Brother Constant, Salver, carry motives layered with personal loyalty and private fears. Constant's faith in the Foundation is tested as she sees cracks in its leadership. Gaul's visions of the future push her toward decisions that may put her at odds with Hari himself. Salver, ever the protector, struggles to reconcile the people she loves with the ruthless choices survival demands. By the end of the episode, it's clear that no one's true agenda is fully revealed, and that's what makes the ending so dangerous. Everyone is hiding something. Every hidden motive is a fuse, just waiting for the right spark. Theories around Episode 6 are already swirling like a storm on Trantor. What if Episode 5's ending taught us anything? It's that the next chapter won't just raise the stakes, it will flip the entire board. The most pressing question is whether Demerzels' control is finally starting to crack, or if what we saw was another one of her deliberate manipulations. Some fans believe that brief hesitation in the final scene wasn't an accident at all, but a calculated move to let the escape happen, forcing the Empire into a crisis only she can fix. If that's true, Episode 6 could be the start of her openly reshaping the political landscape, one quiet step at a time. Hari Seldons' role in what's coming next is even harder to pin down. His influence is everywhere, yet his methods are impossible to predict. One theory gaining traction is that Hari allowed certain events in Episode 5 to play out wrong on purpose, creating a controlled failure to force specific alliances into place. This wouldn't be the first time he's engineered disaster to serve the long game, but with the Mentalics in play, even his carefully crafted plans may start to spiral in directions he can't control. Speaking of the Mentalics, their next move could be the season's biggest turning point. Episode 5 hinted at factions within their ranks, and if those divisions deepen, Episode 6 might bring an unexpected betrayal from within. Some are speculating that a Mentalic leader could align with the Second Foundation, creating a power block capable of outmaneuvering both Hari and the Empire. That alliance could change not just the course of the war, but the balance of influence across the galaxy for generations. The Second Foundation itself remains the most mysterious player in the game. We've seen their shadow, heard their name whispered, but we still don't know how deeply their reach goes. Episode 6 might be where they stop lurking and start acting, and if they do, they could reveal that many of the independent actions we've seen so far were actually orchestrated by them from the start. Imagine the fallout if characters we trust are revealed to have been working under their influence all along. Then there's the possibility of a full-scale confrontation. The political skirmishes and strategic maneuvering of episodes the 1st to the 5th of May finally give way to open conflict. With fleets moving, planets rebelling, and loyalties shattering. But in the Foundation universe, war isn't always fought with weapons. It's fought with ideas, information, and the slow erosion of certainty. Episode 6 could deliver a battle where the most dangerous strike is psychological, not physical. No matter which theory plays out, one thing is certain: the hesitation we saw at the end of Episode 5 wasn't just a moment. It was a trigger. And Episode 6 will show us exactly what's been set in motion. Asterisk. Some of the most important pieces of Episode 5 aren't in the big speeches or dramatic confrontations. They're hiding in plain sight, tucked into quiet moments in background. details that most viewers might overlook. The first major clue comes early, during a brief council meeting on Trantor. While all eyes are on Brother Day's speech, Demerzel is seen adjusting a datapad on the table. It's subtle, almost casual, but if you pause and look closely, the pad displays a sequence of numbers that match a cipher referenced way back. In Season 1, that code was linked to secret communications outside the Empire's official network, possibly to agents we've never met. It's a blink-and-do-miss-it signal that Demerzels might be running operations far beyond what Day knows. Another hidden gem is in the Mentalics scenes. When they demonstrate their abilities, the sound design adds a faint, low-frequency hum. Beneath the dialogue, it's barely audible, but in the Foundation universe, these kinds of audio cues often signal psychic influence at work. Rewatching the moment with this in mind makes you wonder how much of what certain characters say is actually their own thought, and how much is a subtle push from a mentalic mind. There's also the matter of the mysterious docking sequence halfway through the episode. A ship arrives under the guise of delivering supplies, but the docking manifest is never shown on screen. The camera cuts away just as the crew disembarks, leaving their identities a mystery. Sharp-eyed fans have noted that the ship's design doesn't match any known Imperial or Foundation class, suggesting it could belong to the Second Foundation or a rogue mentalic faction. This unexplained arrival may be more important than the episode lets on. Even in Hari Seldons' storyline, there's a breadcrumb worth following. When he pauses mid-conversation with Gaul, his gaze shifts briefly to a star chart behind her. The chart highlights a sector that hasn't been mentioned since Season 2, a sector rumored to be home to one of the First Foundation's hidden research outposts. It's the kind of visual cue that feels too intentional to be random, hinting that Hari's plans may involve resources or allies we've forgotten about. Lastly, there's a throwaway line from Brother Constant when she mentions a silent revolt brewing in the outer systems. It's said quickly, almost as an aside, but given Foundation's layered storytelling, small mentions like this often explode into major plot points later. If the revolt she's referring to gains momentum, this could be the perfect storm to destabilize both the Empire and the Foundation simultaneously. Put together, these small details form a shadow narrative running underneath the main plot. The quiet threads that will likely be pulled in Episode 6, and when they unravel, the picture we've been seeing may look entirely different.